Hi knitters, this is Mimi with Pastiche Knitwear. Today's tutorial is the Pinhole Cast On, which is a crocheted cast on for small circumference beginnings where you begin at the center of a work and work to the outside. So let's go ahead and get our yarn. You'll want the tail end in your left hand and the live end in your right hand, and we're just going to make a loop around, and now it's time to pick up the crochet hook. You'll want to come through the center of the loop and then with the hook come over the top of the live end, and then you've just brought up a stitch on the hook. I'm going to drop this circle and then tension the yarn in my left hand because this is crochet. Now I like to hold on to the two pieces of yarn here with my thumb and middle finger, and I'm tensioned over my index finger. That seems to work for me. Now we're going to take the hook underneath the live yarn, rotate the hook part down, and then just come through the stitch on your hook. If you're already a crocheter, this is just single crochet. If you're a knitter and you don't do much crochet, just stick with it and you're going to get it. It's really not that hard. So that's one stitch made. Our pattern calls for 8 stitches to be cast on, so we're going to cast on 7 more. We'll come into the center of the ring, bring the hook under the live end, and then we're going to scoop it up. So now I have 2 stitches on my hook. We're going to yarn around again and then chain just through that one stitch. Leave this guy alone. Let's do another one. Come with your hook into the center of the ring, under the live yarn, swing up. Now you have 3 stitches on the right hand needle. Yarn around and chain through that one stitch. Let's do it again. Into the ring, yarn under, swing up, yarn around again, and then come through just that one stitch. You can see we're stacking up these stitches on this hook. So I'm going to do 4 more, and I'm not going to do them quite as slowly as I've been doing. You can always pause the video and take, if you need your pace to be just a little slower, there's not a problem in the world. A lot of times if you haven't tensioned with your left hand, this can feel very awkward to begin with. So be patient with yourself and give yourself time. We've got 1 more to do. Into the ring, yarn around, and we've got our 8 stitches. Now I like to untwist this tail end, which almost always is wound around, and then I'm just going to pull on the cut end, and this is going to tighten up and create our little pinhole. Now is time to transfer the stitches from the crochet hook onto the knitting needle. So in order for our stitches to be properly mounted, I'm going to pull from the back leg rather than the front leg as I take them off. I'm just going to pull off each individual stitch from the back, and that way they'll be properly mounted on our knitting needles. And then, with much rejoicing, I'm going to put this crochet hook aside because I feel much better with knitting needles in my hand. Okay, so now we're going to do magic loop. So I'm going to slide the stitches onto the cable portion of the needle, find the midpoint, pinch the cable, and draw it up through. So I've got 4 stitches on one side of the cable and 4 stitches on the other. Now I want the front or presentation side of the work facing me. You can see the nice little opening. If I turn it back here, you can see the little purl bumps at the base of each of the stitches. I don't want to see that. Now while we have this turned over though, I want to locate the fact that we've got our live end is attached to this stitch. This means this is the needle we're going to pull out to become our working needle for magic loop. And in the pattern that we're using, the pattern instructs to knit 1 lifted increase all the way around. So let me show you how to do that. So we're going to work our first stitch here. Make sure that's the live end and not the tail. I've done that too many times. Now to do a lifted increase, you want to look at this first stitch on the right hand needle and count down 2 rows beneath the stitch on the needle. So there's 1 row, and here you might have to yank on it a little bit. Here is 2. And I'm just going to pull up on this stitch and try not to split it. And then I'm going to knit into the back leg of that stitch. Now this guy seems a little tight to me, but it's okay. So that's my first lifted increase. Now I'm going to knit 1 and do a lifted increase again. Let's count down 2. 1, 2, and just bring your left needle tip from behind, and then knit into the back leg of that stitch. Knit one and work a lifted increase. Just pick it up from behind and knit into the back of the stitch. Let's do that one more time. Now sometimes, see how little that guy is? That's 1 and 2. Don't be afraid to pull up on it. It can handle the abuse. It's all good. Now we're to the end of the stitches on this side of the cable. 2, 4, 6, 8. We've got 8 stitches here. We're going to rotate to the right. Do blood or death. If you haven't seen my magic loop video, you probably don't know what that is, but you could go check it out. Okay, and then here's my live end. That's the needle I'm going to pull to work the other side. So I'm just going to knit, come on here, knit one, and then do a lifted increase. Again, there's 1 row beneath and 2 rows beneath. And we just do this all the way around, stitch for stitch. We knit a stitch, and then we're going to do our lifted increase. This is a really beautiful increase to use, but it's not appropriate for every single thing. And on the pattern, you're going to see that I switch over now to make ones after we do 1 plain round of knitting. So, okay. So now 2, 4, 6, 8. So we've got 16 stitches. We started with 8. Let's do just our plain round. Now, on a previous video that I tried to make of this, I started knitting with the tail at this point, which was kind of agonizing. So I'm going to try not to do that again. Yay! Okay, so now we're just going to knit 1 round here. So while I'm knitting across, I just want to say that if you prefer using make ones and not lifted increases, you can certainly do that. It's a little bit harder on the off of that cast on to do make ones, which is why we're doing the lifted increases. When I did lifted increases on this, I started doing the whole hat with lifted increases, but they were a little too prominent for my taste. I didn't really like the way they looked. So you can make the choices yourself. You don't have to do them the way I prescribe. I'll never know what you're doing, except of course my students. I'm gonna totally know what you're doing. So, all right, now we're ready to do our make ones. And in our pattern, we're going to knit 1. Oops. Yeah, I don't want to do that again. Knit 1. And let's do a make one. So for a make one, you see the horizontal strand that's running in between these 2 stitches. You want to, with your left needle tip, come from front to back underneath that horizontal strand, and then you're going to knit into the back leg of that stitch. So let's knit 1 and then do a make one. So we just bring the left needle tip under the horizontally running strand, knit into the back leg of that stitch. Knit 1. Now sometimes I do this, I'll use my right needle tip as an assist, so I'll pick the strand up and then I can really easily put my left hand needle into it. Just make sure that you're coming in from the front and not the back, because now we need to knit into the back leg of the stitch. If you know anything about if you knit into the back of the stitch, typically that means you're going to twist the stitch, which is what we're doing. We're doing this so that when we pick up that stitch, so that we don't get a hole. We are actually purposely twisting our stitch here so that we take away the hole of the make one. So that's it really, and for you mystery hat workers, just follow the instructions on your pattern, and the rest of the increases of the hat are going to be done as make ones. So just go ahead and do that, and I hope that this video tutorial has been helpful for you. Thanks.